Hello, welcome to the Parent Informational Meeting for Codes of Ethics and Conduct Expectations for Coaches, Players, and Fans. In order for your child to participate, please read carefully, sign, and return the Athletic Code of Conduct contract and the Bus Behavior Expectations contract that are found at the back of this packet. Brookwood Junior High encourages students to participate in extracurricular activities. Therefore, we do not have cuts or tryouts for athletic teams. However, students must understand that they are students first, and academics and learning take a priority. If a student is not receiving at least a C or higher in their classes on a weekly basis, he or she will not be able to participate in the activity and will be required to bring the grade up in order to participate. Parents, guardians must also attend a parent informational meeting at the start of all athletic seasons. Any parent unable to attend a meeting must view a Google movie that outlines the team's expectations and signs off they have received and understand the expectations in order for his or her child to participate. We will support our students by providing tutoring beyond the school day. Students must also exhibit respectful conduct during the school day. If a student receives an office referral for misconduct, he or she will not be eligible to participate in practices or games or any extracurricular activity for 1 week per referral. We are happy to be a member of the South Suburban Junior High School Association Athletic Contest and the Illinois Elementary School Association. To help maintain a pleasant and cooperative atmosphere during our athletic competitions, we ask all visitors to do the following. Gentlemen of all ages are asked to remove their hats upon entering the building. Parents should supervise their children at all times during the game. Students are not permitted to leave the gym except at halftime and in between games to go to the cafeteria and concession stand. Students and children must be supervised while in the cafeteria. Food and drinks are not permitted in the gym. Prior to the end of halftime and the start of the second game, students, children, and parents should begin to move to the gym. Parents, children, and students must stay off the playing surface. This way, the floor is kept clean and our athletes can avoid slips and injuries. The coach has the main responsibility for good sportsmanship in the school and community. He or she sets the pattern for the understanding of the sport and all behavior concerns with it. He or she must keep good sportsmanship as the guiding principle for the team, student body, community, and parents. If a coach is ejected from a game, contest, he or she will have to sit out for 2 games or contests. If a coach is ejected a second time, he or she will have to sit out for 5 games or contests. If a coach is ejected from a game or contest more than 2 times during the school year, he or she will not be allowed to coach any athletic contest for the remainder of the school year. If a player is ejected from a game or contest, he or she will have to sit out for 2 games or contests. If a player is ejected a second time, he or she will have to sit out for 5 games or contests. If a player is ejected from a game or contest more than 2 times during the school year, he or she will not be allowed to participate in any athletic contest for the remainder of the school year. If a fan is ejected from a game or contest, he or she will be excluded from attending 2 consecutive games or contests. If a fan is ejected a second time, he or she will be excluded from attending for 5 consecutive games or contests. If a fan is ejected from a game or contest more than 2 times during the school year, he or she will be excluded from attending any athletic contest for the remainder of the school year. Fan expectations, ejection consequences will be posted at the game for all home games. If a coach, player, or fan is ejected, he or she will be notified in writing of the consequences being issued. Brookwood Junior High School provides extracurricular activities in boys cross country, basketball, wrestling, volleyball, track, girls cross country, cheerleading, basketball, wrestling, volleyball, and track. We are members of the South Suburban Junior High School Association and the Illinois Elementary School Association. Spectators at games should, at every opportunity, urge the student body to be polite, courteous, and fair to the opposing team. Always display good sportsmanship, whether winning or losing. Never boo or make a scene or make a fool of him or herself. Maintain poise and self-control at all times, especially during games. Team athletes and children to play fairly, not with dirty tactics. Discourage those players and fellow spectators who do not demonstrate good sportsmanship. These students and community members do not reflect their schools and should not be allowed to continue to attend games. Respect the rulings of the officials and interpretation of the rules. Allow the officials to control the game. Not shout or yell at students, athletes, coaches, or officials. Attending this event is a privilege, and harassing coaches, players, and officials will not be tolerated. It is also important that coaches never humiliate the other team by running up the score. We are excited to begin the Brookwood Junior High School girls volleyball season 2019-2020. Our head coach this year is Ms. Jones. Her email is cjones@brookwood167.org. She's available Monday through Friday from 2:10 to 3:10. Our assistant coach this year is Ms. Hines. Her email is chines@brookwood167.org, and she's available from 8:35 to 9:35. Practice is important for the development of each athlete. It is also important for the coaches in determining the abilities of each athlete. Players are expected to attend all practices. Practice attendance and performance will be considered when giving athletes playing time. If a student athlete must miss a practice due to a family conflict, they must submit a signed parent note to a coach prior to missing the practice. All games begin at 3:30 p.m. 7th grade always plays first. Practice after school practices start immediately after school and end at 4:30 p.m. Before school practices begin at 7:30 a.m. and go until 8:15. It is expected that students will be picked up from practice or games in a timely manner. Practices run from 3:10 to 4:30. Students will need to be picked up at 4:30 or, if eligible, take the activity bus home. Games. The time length of games will vary depending on the location of the game and how many matches we play. We will do our best to give estimates of return times to BJHS and prompt athletes to notify their rides prior to returning to BJHS. Leaving the game with a parent or guardian is allowed. The parent or guardian must first sign the student out with the coach prior to taking the student home. Eligibility. Students that are deemed ineligible will not be able to participate in practices or games until they bring their grades up to passing. Students must have a C or higher in all classes to participate in volleyball practices or games. Students will be notified at the beginning of each week if they are on the academic ineligibility list. Students will be ineligible until they bring their grades up to passing. If a student brings up their grades during the course of the week, they may participate by having the teacher write a note stating that the student has brought up their grades to passing. Students can be placed on the non-participation list for behavior at school. Students will not be able to participate in extracurricular activities until they are no longer on this list. Each incident will result in 5 days of non-participation. No student shall be permitted to compete in a tryout, practice, or game unless such student has filed with principal a certificate of physical fitness issued by a licensed physician, physician's assistant, or nurse practitioner as set forth in the Illinois state statutes not more than 395 days preceding such tryout, practice, or contest in any athletic activity. Any student who is not allowed to participate in interscholastic activities as the result of a physician's directive may not return to play until they have received written clearance from a physician and assigned consent from their parent or guardian. Coaches are expected to treat players, parents, opponents, and officials with respect. Teach and inspire players to love the game and compete fairly and in a sportsmanlike manner. Demonstrate by example the type of person he or she wants the players to be, have control of his or her players, and command discipline at all times. Respect and abide by IESA and SSJHSA conference rules and regulations for his or her sport. Realize that as the coach, he or she is an educator and therefore understands the sport he or she is coaching and the proper behavior for that sport. Monitor the student's athlete's grades, progress reports, and behavior to ensure that the student athlete's academic performance is at an acceptable level, not only for the athlete participation, but more importantly to meet the requirements for promotion and graduation. Report any breach of conduct by their athletes to the appropriate school authority. Example, fighting. Players are expected to treat opponents with respect, adhere to all the IESA and SSJHSA conference rules and regulations in regard to sportsmanship and participation, demonstrate self-control, respect and accept all officials' calls and decisions without gestures or arguments, win with dignity, lose without excuses. The good of the team always comes first. Show respect for your coaches, the opponent's coaches, and the players and the officials. Adhere to all school and team rules. Understand that Brookwood Junior High School Athletic Code of Conduct shall extend to cover all interscholastic athletic contests. Conduct yourself at all times in a manner that represents character and sportsmanship, traits that are acceptable in today's society and that make your coach, teammates, parents, and school proud. Parents are expected to be positive role models at the athletic contests. Your son or daughter will be very aware of your behavior. Be supportive of the coach. The team is the coach's responsibility, not the parents. Do not coach from the sidelines. Communicate with the coach and create a positive, supportive working relationship. Realize as the coach, he or she is an educator and therefore understands the sport he or she is coaching and the proper behavior for the sport. Remember, the primary value of athletic participation is to provide our youth with an opportunity for self-development physically, emotionally, and mentally. Respect the judgment of the officials and refrain from openly criticizing each and every call the official makes. Be aware that if a parent conference is desired with the coach, that it is highly inappropriate to speak with the coach regarding this at the conclusion of an athletic event. Wait until the next day and call for an appointment with the coach. Understand and respect the different roles of parents, coaches, and officials. Parents should parent, coaches should coach, and officials should officiate, and each should be treated with respect for what they do. We have made a commitment to promote good sportsmanship by student athletes, coaches, and spectators at all athletic events. Profanity, degrading remarks, and intimidating actions directed at officials or competitors will not be tolerated and are grounds for removal from the event site. Thank you for your cooperation in the promotion of good sportsmanship. The game is a privilege for the spectator and the player. It is not appropriate for anyone associated with a junior high game to use profanity or inappropriate language. Everyone attending or participating in any game has a responsibility to demonstrate good citizenship. Please remember that players and coaches are not permitted to use inappropriate language at any time. No one in attendance is permitted to use profanity at an opponent or game official. Being angry at oneself is not an excuse to use profanity. Find another way to let off steam. Chants and cheers that include profanity are unacceptable, and those who use it could be asked to leave the facility. Inappropriate comments to players or coaches is not acceptable. Show good sportsmanship, and remember the goal of the game is to have fun.